Okay, and I'm saying it's 10:10, okay?
Okay,
Call to order at 10:10, okay.
Okay.
Good
Good
morning to you both, anyway.
Good morning. This is the meeting of the Wellfleet Housing Authority, starting a little late at 10:10 on Thursday, July 7th via Zoom. We do have a quorum, so we will get started. And
Elaine, may I just say, I hope it doesn't happen, but if I go blank, I may have to step away from the meeting for a minute or two, okay?
okay, all righty. Okay. Well, let's start with Richard's minutes from oh, that's the wrong one. Minutes from June 9th. And we have a short meeting. I believe you captured it all. So I would move we approve the minutes.
Second.
Okay, any more discussion on that? All in favor? Aye,
Aye.
Aye.
3-0. Thank you so much. All right, rental assistance, any?
I was just checking, Elaine. I sent Bridget a note late last night asking about whether there was any changes. Bridget, do you know of any?
I know I had a conversation with Maggie, I want to say week before last, Gary, and nothing then, as of then.
So I guess the question is we could either do nothing or we could approve up to $1,865 for reimbursement based upon the previous months, to be confirmed when we receive the invoice.
Okay, what's the amount?
Well, last month it was $1,865.
Okay,
So
So a motion to approve paying HPC up to $1,865 pending the receipt of an invoice.
specifically, I'd say is for the July rental assistance,
Okay,
pending receipt of an invoice.
so Gary moved, I'll second. Any more discussion on that? All in favor?
aye.
I have a second bill, Elaine, if you want me to.
Mhm.
There is a consulting contract for Maurice's to do a site assessment in the amount of $8,700. And it turns out we can apply the money from our FY 2022 administrative budget. So this is money, it's now past July, but we can still are in the window where we can spend it. I don't think we can spend it on anything else.
Yeah.
And the amount that we have in that balance is $4,300, 4,300. So I've been in conversation with Rich Waldo, the new town administrator or the town administrator. He has proposed that we spend the $4,300 from the FY 22 Housing Authority administrative budget. That's the budget that we get from the town. As partial payment for this, for the site assessment for Maurice's, and the other $4,400 for it will come from other town funds. So we need to approve, if we agree, payment of $4,300 from the FY 22 administrative budget.
I think it's a good idea, Richard. We were, the trust had approved up to $25,000 for due diligence for Maurice's. But if we have other monies that we can use to kind of, save
Sure.
that pot. And basically, since we haven't been paying legal fees out of our own budget, we really hardly ever use our contract services line because we're usually working under grants and this and that. So I think this is a great way to get it done.
And as a practical matter, Richard, if we didn't spend it, we would lose it.
Right.
Yeah.
All right, I'm trying to formulate this into a motion, so bear with me. A
So
motion to approve the payment of, is it 4,300, Gary?
yes, 4300.
$4,300 from the Wellfleet Housing Authority FY 22 administrative budget for Maurice, what's the exact?
Just say for consulting services for the Maurice's campground purchase, proposed.
Consulting, okay, services for Maurice's campground purchase. I'll read that again to you guys, all right?
Okay.
A motion to approve the payment of $4,300 from the fiscal year 22 Wellfleet Housing Authority administrative budget for consulting services for the Maurice's campground purchase.
Was that a motion you're making, Richard, or Gary?
Doesn't matter.
I'll make it.
I'll
Okay,
second it.
okay. Any more discussion on that? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
For years, our expense line budget from the town has been $4,800. I don't know if it was a typo, but I noticed in the town warrant this year, it was 7,800,
Oh,
but I'm not sure, but we'll find out soon enough, I guess. Gary, will you let Rich know that?
yes, I will.
Okay. All right.
Elaine, can I, Gary, when you sent me that email about needing the minutes to go to the accountant to pay those bills. I have, just as a matter of going forward, I usually, once they're approved, I send our minutes to Jennifer and the Board of Selectmen. Do you want me to start to include the town administrator and the financial people?
Since the answer is, I don't think you have to include the town administrator, but the town accountant.
Okay,
That's Nick Robertson.
right.
It probably can't hurt because when I submit the bills for payment, when I submit the vouchers, I always reference that they have been approved at the meeting of the housing authority at such and such a date.
All right, I'll just put Nick on it from now on and it can't hurt.
Right.
Okay, thank you, sorry.
Good. No, that's great. Thank you.
Can I just say, in the future, if we're looking at it, he's changed it. We used to have a 2-week cycle for submitting vouchers, and now we have a 1-week cycle.
That's good.
So yes, it means we pay them more promptly. And generally speaking, bills have to be submitted by Wednesday for the next week's processing.
Okay, no, that's great. Okay, next on the agenda is the buy down repair request, which is still in process. So nothing really about that this month again. Next is the grant for the housing production plan. We did get 3 excellent proposals. And And I did a preliminary review of them with Becky roughly. And we're going to meet again this afternoon. Two of the proposals were standouts in terms of the community engagement they were offering. And one was not very strong on the community engagement. So we determined we should only be looking at the two that were offering a robust community engagement process. And Rebecca said, basically, from that, then we need to take the least expensive one. So I don't think we can go wrong. What will be needed is a steering committee of sorts to work with the consultant. And I know when we applied, I did mention that the Housing Authority would take the lead on this. But I don't know if you feel like we want to do that, or if we'd like to suggest a member from each of our three groups, kind of keeping with our Wellfleet Housing Collaborative. I think the select board will have to determine, I'm sure they would take some suggestions, but in talking with Truro, who's in the middle of theirs right now, they just said how important it was when you're working with the groups that do the community engagement, that it is when they're doing focus groups and interviews, they're looking for the steering committee to get the people who are willing to do that. The consultant will do all the work of planning it and doing it and carrying it out and producing reports, but it's up to the town to engage the local people that would be willing to sit for an interview or to sit for a focus group. So that would be the main work that a small steering committee would have to do. So I'm looking for thoughts about the best way to do that. Bless you.
I like your idea, Elaine, of having representatives from their various groups.
I do too. I think it goes along with what we've been doing, although I feel like it's probably going to be maybe 3 people I could name right now. I don't know if either of you would be willing and interested to participate from one of the groups. Harry, it was your idea to submit this grant.
I might be interested, but I'm thinking, and I don't know what the time involved here is. And I hesitate to do this because she's not here, but Sarah might have more of a background in the whole business, that would make her a better member. So I would suggest we at least ask her. She's just so much more knowledgeable. I don't know if that makes sense in terms of how you envision this thing.
Well, I like the fact that she's got a different demographic of people she knows and is close to also, which I had great response. I talked to the Dennis town planner, who actually worked with both firms that are under consideration. And he was thrilled with the young people on their staffs and how excellent they were at drawing out, young people in the town. I know Sarah is serving, she's on the working group for Maurice's too. But I think it would more be like coming up with names and helping to shape, participation then.
Elaine, can you tell me when you think this would be?
The other thing is, depending on how people feel, it'll be all virtual, or it could be in person too.
Right, but the question is, when do you want someone?
I asked Becky if she got them, digital copies so that I could share with people, but apparently she didn't. She just got hard copies. But I think the time frame, would start like with some of that in September.
It has to be completed before the end of the year, right?
Yep, everybody put in they could do that.
And you and I had a brief conversation. You have two that you like.
We have three that we like, but two that are better, are offering. a
Two
little
that
more.
you think, do you have any choice on the matter?
Well, Rebecca says we have to take the one that's less money, and one is less money than the other.
And we can't negotiate. Okay.
Yeah, I don't think so.
I'll defer. You will pick the person that you feel most comfortable.
Well, I think the town's going to pick, but I feel like, the input.
Is it the town's production plan or is it the housing authority's production plan?
I believe it was the town. I don't know if the town applied on behalf of the housing authority. I'll get that clarified with Rebecca today.
Okay, and so if we have a meeting of the housing partnership, if not next week, that's the week after.
Mhm. Yeah, that'd be soon enough.
Yeah, on the 14th.
Mhm.
So would it be all right if I just deferred and said, yes, we'd be happy to provide, the housing partnership, I believe would be happy to provide a representative, and we will select one on the 14th.
Okay. So then I would likewise ask, it's probably not in time for the trust to act on it.
The trust has a meeting on Monday.
Right, and it's probably not till 7 o'clock. Harry could still put that on the agenda if he's willing.
Yeah. Do you
know-
have it? Is it at the bottom where it's ongoing projects?
Well, he does have the production plan on the agenda, so
Oh, all right. So, yeah,
I
that'd be
will
fine.
assume that fits in there, and I'll
Right,
let
and-
him know.
and- Are you suggesting that you are not the representative, or are you the super representative, or the chair, or?
I know Harry's overwhelmed and not going to want to be
Right.
from the trust. I mean, I'm willing to be involved from,
Whichever group.
yeah, either housing authority, if Sarah or Richard felt. I mean, I think Sarah's a great idea, but I don't
Right.
know. It'll be realistic, or from the trust.
So Elaine, you,
That's Sarah. Oh. Hi, Sarah.
Hey Elaine, how are you?
Good. Yeah,
Good. So I'm in a spot now, and I apologize. I had to be at Baker Avenue, which is a spot, not Gary's Baker,
Sure.
a different one, but a spot where I usually have service, and I just couldn't get on. I don't know why.
Okay.
I am actually out by the ocean now, but I think I could. I know it's just summer. I'm sorry. But I can try to log on now. I just figured
Okay.
you guys might have given up. I know we didn't.
No,
have
no,
quorum
no,
without me,
we're-
so I apologize.
We've almost appointed you to something, so you better get on as quick as you
Oh,
can.
Jesus. Okay, good. Let me try. I just was like, I better call her first.
Okay.
Good. Hopefully I can get this work. I'll dial in right now.
Okay.
Okay.
See if she can do it.
Elaine, can we just go back to the beginning of this a little bit? So the people from each of the housing groups, their charge in all of this really is to get fannies in the seats.
Mhm.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that is it.
well, can I say that the last one, it was quite a bit of back and forth on the substance of the report. Would that be the same group, or is it this group's only responsibility? Excuse me, is this group's responsibility for the getting people.
Sarah. I'm sorry, Gary.
I'm just trying to gauge what you want from this person, how much of a time commitment there is.
Well, for 4 months, I think it will be kind of, making sure things happen and, interfacing with the consultant and, it won't be nothing. It'll be a little,
Okay,
we can try to have a little clearer picture of that when, for your partnership meeting. Hi, Sarah.
Hi, guys. Can you hear me?
We can hear you. Thank you so
Okay.
much.
Oh, sure. I'm sorry I got screwed up earlier.
That's okay. It's
Mhm.
great that
Sarah.
you're here
Hi,
now.
Gary.
Sarah, we were just talking about, we have 3 good proposals for our housing production plan consultant. And 2 of them are really, really strong on community engagement. So I'm working with Becky roughly this afternoon to go over all of them again. And we want to go with one of the firms that's really good on community engagement.
Yeah.
And what we're really going to need is a little steering committee to kind of help pilot this through. And from talking to other towns, a big job of the steering committee is to, as Richard put it, put fannies in the seats of focus groups and interviews that the consultants will want to do. So we thought it would be in line with our housing collaborative to have one member from the housing authority, lawn mowing, the partnership and the trust kind of serve as the steering committee. And we know you're very busy. But we felt like so much more of a different demographic than we do that we'd like to try to reach. Didn't know if you would be interested in participating in that way.
So I'm worried that I'm always worried that I don't contribute as much to this committee as the rest of you all, just because I feel like it's hard for me to do the meetings. I'm feeling a bit like I'm overextended with the communications at Maurice and doing this, just in terms of falling apart on the job. So I would feel, if it's another sort of regular meeting thing that's going to be anytime before, say, November, and I know I sound like a jerk, it's just I work full time and it's hard, then I don't want to dump something else on you guys. So I guess my question is, how much do you think it will entail? Because I always want to help when I can work from any strengths that I have to offer. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, I think, things would get started pretty quickly. And I think a lot of the focus groups and interviews where we want to have people lined up are going to be September, October. But there would be a little organizing prior to that. I mean, even if you felt you couldn't serve, we still can call on you for ideas for people to.
I guess what I would say is, yes, I want to help in any way I can that I'm happy to reach out to all of the people that you think I could reach, whether that's, people in my age group or working people or my clients or anyone like that I can be helpful with. And if there's any sort of resourcing, reaching out to people, I think I'm way better when I have things that I can do on my own time, because then I can do it at like 10 at night or at 5 in the morning or whatever. And I have a harder time doing the things that are regimented. Does that make sense?
Yep.
Yes, no.
Yes.
Yes.
But does that then mean that one of you needs to add it to your plate? Because if it does, just put it on me and I'll make it work.
Well, Elaine.
No, really. I mean, I know you guys do like 1,000 more things than I do on every week. So that's a yes. Yeah.
Elaine.
Yeah.
You will be the representative and the chair of this, regardless of which group you represent. So we could try to get someone else from the trust.
Yeah.
If you would take the representative from the Housing Authority. And I'm feel confident I could get somebody at the end of the day from the partnership.
Mhm. Yeah, I mean, and we could also have 4 members.
Right.
I could sort of be the person. that-
You would be the chair or the lead or the president or,
Whatever. Yeah.
yeah. Okay, so I would propose you.
We haven't used the term Czarina.
Yeah.
All right, I like that. I'm all for that.
Richard, you got me a gavel. Now you got to get me a tiara.
How about an egg? You know, we could,
Right. Oh, this is getting expensive.
well, actually, we could just go with the regular egg.
Okay.
Okay, well, I mean, I feel, I feel obliged to do this, even though it was Gary's idea. So maybe you'll be the rep from the partnership. But Richard, if you're at all interested, I'd happy to be the 4th person and have you also from the housing.
Listen, I'm thinking of who I could, what fannies I could get in the seats. And that's why I took, there are people who have a younger, broader crowd, but I will work with you on this, Elaine, any way I can.
Okay, all righty. Thank you. All right. What's next? The Housing Angels benefit. I just had a few questions. Gary, are we definitely having an auction and a raw bar?
I don't believe we're having an auction.
No? Oh,
No.
what happened to that?
It just fell by the wayside, to be honest. I think that no one got behind it enough. The raw bar, I'm not 100% sure of.
Okay, all right. 'Cause
I will try and see if I can't get the answer to that, and I'll send it to you.
I just thought if we were having those things, it should get on to the, the publicity about
Right.
it, so people know to bring their money.
Could I ask in that regard, is there anything that we need to coordinate with Stephen for that evening?
I don't think so. He's working hard. I'm sure he'll come up with some kind of program or,
Right.
or can contribute.
I'll send him I can send him an email if you're more comfortable, Elaine, but the question is, what do you want from us, Stephen? Need from
well,
us?
I do think we need a much better poster.
Much better poster?
Yeah, something, I think we should either ask somebody professional to do something that really stands out. I don't know if Pelinda has that capacity, but I feel like, I really appreciate that Sharon did that, but I don't think it's not bold enough. you
Right.
know? Yeah,
I don't think if we wait 2 weeks, Elaine, for that partnership meeting,
Yeah.
then,
no,
right, we won't have time to do it. So
yeah.
I can ask, do you think Pelinda is the person, or is there somebody else?
I mean, the only other people I'm thinking of might charge us a bit, like if Andrea Pluhar could do it. Somebody with real graphic design chops.
Well, the only people with money are the Housing Authority and the Housing Trust.
Yeah, I would donate it if, I can't imagine somebody would charge too much, so.
I was going to say, or I'd be happy to, if we're talking about a couple $100, if we each put in 100,
At the most, yeah,
right?
yeah.
So do you want to ask Andrea Pluhar to do it?
Sure. I mean, I don't know that, I don't think that Barbara Woodbury does posters, but.
She gave so much.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, Pelinda's on vacation this week. I could ask her because she does a lot of that, but I feel like maybe asking Andrea makes sense.
Okay. So if you would ask
Mhm.
I'm sure that I can take responsibility for, I was thinking there's probably 2 weeks before is about the right time to start putting them up.
Mhm.
So we, the partnership, I'm sure could take responsibility for distributing them.
Yeah, I mean, it would be good to have them when the seasonal residents have their event. We should have, could be handing out copies there. Yeah, I just think, on that, I was also wondering too, what did Yule for Fuel? They had a virtual option. And considering what's going on, I was wondering if I should ask Chris if that's, and would be an option for people to buy a ticket to watch it virtually.
Oh,
But
Are
some of
there
the people
product-
I've talked to said, well, we'll have to see how things are then,
Are there production costs associated with that, Elaine?
That's what I don't know.
do they tape everything?
I don't think so, but I don't think it could hurt to ask if there is an option and what that would involve.
So this is would be Zoom participation.
Yeah, it would, I can't remember how they did it for Yule for Fuel, but you basically, it wasn't Zoom, you were clicking on a link that then took you to the show in live performance.
But the theory would be that you'd actually pay.
You'd pay, yeah, you
Yeah.
pay, you buy a ticket. Yeah.
Right.
I just think, it wouldn't hurt to have that option
That's
if
a
it
wo-
was available.
That's a wonderful idea. Because
Mhm.
I talked to a few people who either had conflicting plans or were a little unsure.
Yeah, it's like the power week of the summer.
Yes, it is. The day before and the day after there's events,
Yeah.
big events. So
Yep. Yeah. But I think, once we get a nice poster too, or even with Sharon's, all of us should send it out to our friends and, when the time comes.
Elaine, you mentioned the non-resident or whatever they're
Seasonal residents.
seasonal residents. I happened to see Carl yesterday
Mhm.
and he said they're changing the date.
Yeah,
And you and I and Sharon had an exchange of emails. Are you all set on that? Or is there anything you need?
we're just supposed to show up. Yeah.
Right. I didn't know whether the change of date affected anything.
Yeah, I mean, he said you may have heard that the ZBA wants to do a thing on the 21st. I hadn't heard that. Have you?
But that's what the first time I heard it was yesterday when he said it to me.
Yeah, me too. I mean, it's not on the town calendar at all, but I noticed that 95 Lawrence is the last item on their meeting on the 14th of July. So I don't know if they decided to add another meeting or not.
I don't know.
Gary, would you be willing to ask Sharon Inger if that's
Sure.
the case? If they're going to be doing 95 Lawrence also on the 21st?
Yeah. So really, we want to know the calendar for 95 Lawrence hearings.
Yeah.
I'll be glad to ask her.
Good.
But you're taking the new poster and the virtual participation?
Yeah, if
or-
that's
or
okay with
the
you.
August 8th? Yes, that's.
Mhm.
Is there anything else we need to do?
I don't think so.
The partnership will definitely take responsibility for getting out the information if you can.
Mhm.
And I suspect we can do the copying at town hall. So I don't think there's any cost for that. And we're talking about an 8.5 by 11 poster, right?
Yeah, but maybe, maybe one that could look good, larger too, like the 11 by 17 for, some places.
Okay.
Yeah.
Can I ask a question here about, do we have now so to speak, an official checks should be made payable to, who are we writing checks to? Is it to
Well-
the Wellfleet Affordable Housing Trust? Is that where all the money is going?
Yes.
Okay, so that's our single, okay,
Right.
very good.
But as a practical matter, to buy your ticket, it's to what? And they in turn will then make a check to the housing authority. You can't buy your ticket.
Yeah, no, Gary, I'm not talking about this particular event. I'm talking
all right.
about just, okay, thank you, though. All right, I got you, Gary. I got what you mean there.
Yeah.
All right, so ask Stephen if there's anything else we need to do.
Mhm.
And I can certainly put it on our agenda for the 14th.
I think once I contact Andrea, if she can do it, I'll have her work with Stephen to develop what he thinks would be the best.
Okay.
So under project updates, under 95 Lawrence, I don't know if you saw, I sent a draft of a letter to send to the ZBA in support of POA's application. And I rearranged it a little bit. I could see it was a little awkward.
Thought it looked great, Elaine.
Okay, let's do this one. Well, I changed it so that I mentioned the statistics and then I put them underneath. And then the stuff about what it would do. And the last little bit about POA and CDP could also actually just be part of that last paragraph instead of bullets. I just sort of wanted things to stick out when they looked at it. So I don't know if you have any other suggestions.
I think it's great, Elaine.
I think so too.
I think so, 3.
Okay,
Do you need us to approve this, Elaine?
yep, I do.
I move that we submit this letter in support of the 95 Lawrence permitting process.
Is there a second?
Second,
Any more discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Gary, it wouldn't be too late to do one for the partnership at your next meeting. I don't know.
Do you think one that looks suspiciously like this one would be acceptable?
I think it should look a little different. I suggested to Harry that we vote on Monday night too at the trust about a letter. So, great. Maurice's is next. I think Sarah, it was right before you came on. Our town administrator, Rich Waldo, really wants to get an environmental site assessment done for Maurice's. And
oh, I see. Mhm,
and he got a quote for it of $8,700.
mhm.
And we are going to contribute, the Housing Authority we voted to authorize the $4,300 we had left in our administrative account to be encumbered to help pay for that.
Okay, that sounds
Yep.
great.
Yep. Anything else about Maurice's right now? Freeman Avenue, I'm meeting with with Becky this afternoon about the housing plan, but also to ask her what we have to do to get the RFP for Freeman Ave out the door. And I will let her know that, the possibility of having them combine the potential, if Habitat responded, to combine that with hopefully work that could be done on Old Kings Highway too. So there is a reason to really try to get it out there right now. Any news from the partnership, Gary?
Well, I raised the question you and I briefly touched on, and Sarah, we have approval for another buy down. And
Oh,
so that was one of the things that was through the CPA portion of town meeting. So we have the same 185,000, 175,000 for a grant. And we were thinking about when we should do it. And Elaine and I were talking about maybe opening it up October 1st, or, a fall, winter one.
I think that would be wise because I think things are shifting a little bit. And I'd like to think that by the late fall, there would be, it could be a little bit quieter and maybe a little more opportunity. So I think anytime once we get through the summer is great.
Okay. So I'll email Ann to see if that CDP can do it in that time frame, and that will be our assumption. So as you begin to talk to people, we should have a grant round in the winter.
That sounds perfect.
Great.
Okay, Richard, do you have any news from the home consortium?
No, the last meeting was canceled.
There's a nice article in the Cape Cod Times today about the POA project at Brewster Woods. That's, very far along, and talked about all the monies that they got, including a significant amount from home,
Yeah,
both statewide and locally.
yeah.
Yeah, and that project too is all near net zero, like our project. So, and it sounded like the developer that they were working with there really knew their stuff about it. So I wonder if we'll maybe end up with the same developer at Lawrence Road. I don't think they've identified one yet.
They
And then
could, Elaine, I think they have to go out they have to get the permitting done,
First,
yeah, before they can put out an RFP for the actual production.
yeah. And then there was the article in the Boston Globe about the new study done by Harvard about what it costs to buy a medium priced home in every town in Massachusetts. And Wellfleet was $188,000, higher than in Boston.
I saw that too.
Yeah. I'm wondering if we should ask the Cape Cod Commission for permission to update that graph they did for us with just that number, because right now it says you have to make $123,000 to buy a home. And that graph is getting a lot of use, so.
Elaine,
Yeah.
do we have authority to use that, or do we have to seek authority to use that data from Harvard?
No. Yeah. I can send you the link to the study.
Would you do that? That'd be
Yeah.
great.
Yeah, I mean, you can still buy a house pretty cheaply out in Western Mass in many places. We're just in the hot spot.
How about people around us? Did happen to look?
Oh yeah, P-Town was even higher, and Provincetown and Martha's Vineyard was, 200,000 something, and they didn't even talk about Nantucket.
But like, what about Truro and Eastham?
Yeah, similar. Yeah.
Eastham has gotten prohibitively expensive in the past 2 years. It's just incredible.
Wow. Okay, well, I think that does it. I'm so glad you all were able to make it. I did send.
I'm so sorry I was so late.
Well, that's okay. You got here. I did send a note to DHCD asking if they could tell me how to follow up on our governor's appointee to the WHA and what's happening with that. It's ridiculous, but.
Elaine, I was thinking, do you think if we called Sarah Peak's office and asked them to find out what the hell's going on here?
I've thought about that because I know last time she helped a little bit. But yeah, I think that's not a bad idea. If I
I'll
don't,
do that. I'll do that.
okay.
All right.
Uh-huh.
I mean,
Elaine,
it may go nowhere, but
Mhm. Thank you, Richard.
Elaine,
Mhm.
we have one opening on the partnership.
Mhm.
I can't remember her name now. Who was the woman who was interested in becoming the governor's appointee?
Oh, Janet Rustow.
Janet Rostow.
Mhm.
I could ask her if she's interested in the partnership.
Is it an at-large position that you have open?
Yes, it's Elizabeth Sellen, unfortunately, our young one, just with her kids and her work is just hard pressed
Mhm.
to participate. But I don't want to ask if you think she could still be the governor's appointee.
Well, she was told she wasn't going to be, but maybe we should wait until.
I mean,
And we haven't heard anything about who is Elaine.
No, no.
So
One more very positive thing about the Housing Angels benefit before we go. Tracy Harmon Hay is having a show of her floating house paintings at Press Hall all of August. She's donating part of the proceeds to the Wellfleet Affordable Housing Trust. That's part of her statement. Her statement is all about when she first came to Wellfleet and couldn't find a house, and her idea of these houses floating in the air and unattainable, and how she's trying to help, wants to help bring them back down to earth. So that's going to be a nice kind of connection with our benefit. And as soon as I see, she was going to send me her statement and press release. I haven't seen it yet, but I don't know, if she'd even, I was thinking, even if we could have like a slideshow of her paintings happening before the benefit started or something, but
that's lovely.
it looks like, though, physically, the set that's going to be up for the play is so huge that basically they're going to have to close the curtains and everybody's going to be performing in front of the curtain. So I'm not sure if the screen is available, but I'll see if there's any way to find out about that. Okay. Great. Thank you all.
when is our
Next
next
meeting.
meeting, Elaine?
The next meeting would be a regular first Thursday, August 4th.
Sounds great.
Now, Elaine, are we compelled to meet in person, or does this continue?
I don't know if, I think it's sometime mid-month, this month, that they are going to have that ruling. I'm going to assume we're going to not have to meet in person.
Because I
unless-
thought Sharon was saying that the Housing Authority is going to start to meet in person because they have to, there's been a new ruling.
The ZBA, you mean?
The ZBA, I'm sorry.
I saw her on the street and she was, I think it was frustrating because a lot of the meeting space wasn't available. So I think they're going with Zoom, but I don't know.
Let's
Gary?
go with Zoom until we hear otherwise. Okay.
Gary?
No, that's the whole thing with having to do it at the COA, Elaine, is that the only space to do a hybrid meeting
Mhm,
that's available is at the Adult Community Center.
mhm.
And so that space has now become, prime. But I think I heard that next week is when the governor is supposed to make a ruling
Okay.
on whether the continuation. So why don't we assume it's Zoom, and if it's not, we'll have to change accordingly.
Mhm.
Or are you ready to start meeting in person?
Not particularly. I mean, we used to meet at 9 o'clock too. I don't know if that's something we want to go back to virtually and or in person, or if 10 o'clock is preferable.
This has worked.
Yeah. Why
Okay.
change it now? Right.
Okay.
Can I also ask, the CPC meeting, we're not having it, was it this week? And we're having it on the the 13th, or we're not having it on the 13th. The next one is on the 20th. Excuse me, the CDP,
CDP,
right? When is the next CDP Wednesday meeting?
whatever next Wednesday is.
The 13th?
Yeah,
13th.
we didn't have it this week.
Right.
Have we adjourned?
No,
Oh,
but I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
so moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Okay, Gary seconded. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
I can second if you can even hear me still.
Yep, we could. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank
Take
you.
care,
Thank
Sarah. Take
everybody.
care, Richard.
Take care. Thank you.
Yeah,
Bye, Elaine.
bye-bye. I'll see you later, Gary.
Bye-bye.
Bye.